Welcome back. Well, talk about decluttering. I mean, how much junk mail do people get these days? And it's not always for the reason that you may think. Keith Kranc joins us, who really helps clients really work on the web and help gain exposure for their business on the web. But Keith, let's talk a little bit about what that may mean for consumers and what goes on with all this information companies are collecting.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Before the show, Heather and I were just talking about, there's some stories about where this dad went storming into Target and got all ticked off at the manager because they thought that they were sending them wrong information about his 16-year-old daughter being pregnant, which she wasn't, of course, till about 2 weeks later when he found out she was. How did they know, right? Well, there's so many different ways these companies today use the internet to gather more information. And it's obviously a very, very hot topic right now with the whole privacy issues with Facebook and with Google. But you've got Facebook, and then you've got the whole internet with just going into different websites, different companies' websites.
And they track. I mean, they're actually tracking and selling your information.
Have you ever been to a site like looking for exercise equipment or something like that, and then like an hour later or even a week later, you're on, say, CNN News or weather.com or Brashenomics.com? Well, that wouldn't happen.
We don't
you don't
sell
have
advertising.
But if you're on weather.com or something like that, and you'll recognize this banner ad.
I was just on the website.
I was just on that website. And you don't, a lot of times you don't really realize it. You just think it's a coincidence. Well, what happens is these companies, they leave a cookie. Okay. That's what it's called. Just like the cookie, you know, the cookie jar, they leave these crumbs on your computer. Okay. And what that does is it basically tells them a lot about you. Okay. What kind of monitor you have, what kind of software you're using, what location, what city you're in. Not really personal information. You've got to go into some of the Facebook and some of the social networks to really get more into the whole personal information. But that's a whole other subject we can get to in a second. But it's pretty unbelievable. And they set up these complex marketing, follow-up marketing systems where they will follow you around the internet, basically, in a subtle way where you don't realize it.
I get Jimmy John's ads everywhere.
Do you?
Yeah, because I like Jimmy John's. I order it quite a bit, and so that's always about 11 o'clock during the day. Jimmy John's starts popping up on every page I go to.
Yeah, and actually, you don't see that very often with local businesses like that. So they're probably on the kind of the cutting edge. Typically, a lot of local smaller businesses in the local area aren't doing that stuff yet because it's pretty complex.
And then they stop by about 2 p.m. They must figure I've eaten.
There's so much data, and there's just always, in some ways, I think there's two major sides of the spectrum, and in some ways it's can be good because then you're not getting, some cases you might not be getting ads that you wouldn't like, at least with those companies. They're trying to do all this research to only target people that are interested in their product, but at the same time you're walking a fine line. And so as a consumer, you can do something about it though. I mean, what you can do is you can actually, if you don't want these companies chasing you around the internet, what you want to do is you got to be proactive and go to your internet settings and clear your cookies. I mean, that's really all you do. If you can't figure out how to do it, just search it in Google or YouTube, how to clear cookies. Basically, you go to your browser, your Internet Explorer, your Chrome, or your Firefox, and you go to your settings and you clear your cookies. And what that will do is it will basically clear your history out. So you can control all this, but you just have to be proactive.
And I think it's an interesting topic, this privacy stuff, because I have two thoughts. I think it's okay that they completely take away your privacy because guess what? They're giving you a lot of free stuff. So if you don't want it, don't use Facebook.
Exactly.
You get this entire network for free. Nobody's asked you to pay a penny. And what do you think? I mean, how do you think these things work?
You're getting just tons and tons of it, just so much free information. We were just talking about before the show, Glenn and I, about Wikipedia. Who would have thought 20 years ago that there would have been this massive, huge abundance of information that was developed for free? I mean, Microsoft just discontinued their Encarta encyclopedia program because of Wikipedia, which is free. And you have all this great free information out there. So, but then you have the situation with Facebook, okay, and Facebook ads, and sometimes you might see an ad, or you might click on like a page to get more information to find out about a brand, but you don't actually realize that now they have a lot of information, not just in your profile, but other pages that you have actually liked. And if they go out and they do another ad, that's what this little article that Heather and I were talking about. It's pretty funny. It says this guy, he decided to be funny, and he posted this 55-gallon drum of lube on Amazon for Valentine's Day and every day for the rest of your life. Okay, so it was this ad that he saw from this company that he thought was funny, so he posted a comment on Facebook. But then what happens is later on, these companies do what's called a sponsored story, okay, or a sponsored ad, and you'll see those ads on the bottom right side of Facebook. But the really effective ads are the ones that underneath the ad that says, Joe also likes this. So what happens is you recognize somebody that's one of your friends that also likes this page, right? So typically, you have the social proof concept, right? Well, what happens is now you might have liked the page that or maybe it's a dating site or something like that. I saw one the other day. There was a dating site on there, and Joe also likes this. And so you got to be careful what you
Joe's married with 3 kids.
Exactly. So you got to be careful, because it's going to come back, and now or anybody that's kind of related to that, not everybody usually gets advertised to. They try to target it, obviously. So,
well, I mean, it is very interesting, because companies find out all these things, and what you think is being used for free is costing you privacy. But my second point to that is this isn't really that bad, because in some ways, at least you're getting ads for stuff you want.
Exactly.
At least the junk mail you get is actually not as junky, right? I'm not getting garden preparation, I don't know, flowers.
It's true. And the more information out there, the more that these companies can, because they're spending so much money and so much time in research to not waste money advertising. So they're only advertising to a very targeted audience. So, which typically means it's going to give you a better chance to not get spammed by crap you don't want.
Well, and you do a lot with video. Talk a little bit about, even that targeting with video, because YouTube's become this big search engine. Mm-hmm. And so now you have people who are able to, essentially target their markets using video. And, as much as that doesn't capture all your information, that's where a lot of people are going now.
Yep. Yeah, it's unbelievable. If you want to really find out information, this is what I tell anybody, like my mom, when she's trying to find something out, how to do something, just go to YouTube. If you really want to find out how to do something, go to YouTube and search for it.
I learned how to whistle really loudly, with 2 fingers on YouTube.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was great.
I've always wanted to do that.
My voice is now, I can come do the radio after a Seahawks game. I used to come in Monday, I couldn't talk. Now I just whistle, but it's hard when it's cold.
You should see my fake version I used to try to do when I was about 10.
Well, hey, Keith, now you have something you can go do on YouTube after the show. Keith, thanks so much for joining us again. That's Keith Kranc, president of Dominate Web Media. When we come back, a lot of people are thinking about spring, and a lot of people are trying to figure out how maybe they could be a little bit safer going forward. Glenn Thiessen's going to join us and make sure that you can be safe this spring with your money. My name's Ben Brash, and that was Keith Kranc. You're listening to Brashenomics.